Hello everyone, this is Donna from Reconnecting Essentials, and today I'm doing a reading on being in alignment, looking at the energy that is available to you for being in alignment, as well as looking at ways that you need to celebrate that you are already in alignment. We're doing the usual pick a group reading. This is pile or group 1, group 2, and this is group 3. And the way this works is you take a moment, you take a breath, and just sort of concentrate on the cards that are laid before you and try to get a sense for the ones that you feel drawn to or pulled to or called to, or whatever it is that your intuition or that gut feeling or that sensation, your guides are sort of saying that is the one. There is a message within that particular reading that is for you. So go ahead and take a moment, take a deep breath, figure out which one it is that you feel inclined to go for, and there are timestamps that'll be below for you to be able to go directly to that reading. So let's go ahead and begin. Okay, for group number 1, the first card we have is the 3 of Swords here, and I feel like we were being told right away that there is something that you are still working on walking away from. There is something that is gone, something that is over. It's a sort of something that you have been going over in your mind. I'm being told, or I'm getting a sense that this has to do with a conversation or experience that you keep revisiting in your mind. It's something that has long since happened, it has long since passed, but for whatever reason, the scenario, the situation, the circumstances of that experience, you keep replaying in your mind, and you're just being told to finally just hit the stop button on that. Eject that, this is showing my age, but eject that videotape from your VCR, the CD from your CD player, DVD from your DVD player, or just take it off of your playlist, however you want to use an analogy. It is just time to stop rehashing it, stop revisiting it, stop rewatching this, stop hearing the conversation in your head. It's just time to walk away. What's done is done. What has happened has happened. There's nothing more that can be done as far as this particular situation or experience, and it's just time to let it go. And I'm being told that it's not so much that it's the ending or the position is supposed to be satisfying. You're not being told that you're supposed to see this in a new light, and you're not being asked to see this from a perspective of being okay with it. You're supposed to allow it to be for what it is, recognize, validate it. If it was a terrible or sucky situation, you're allowed to say, that really sucks, I hate that happened. But once you say it, walk away. It's just time to finally put the end to this story, put the end to this narrative, put the end to this scene that gets replayed in your mind, and just leave it for what it is. You hated the ending, it doesn't matter, it's over, it's time to move on. And we have the 2 of Pentacles that's kind of following it directly, and I feel that this is talking about balance, and I feel when it's referring back to this particular card and all of that I have already said regarding that balance of trying to figure out how you can balance your position of grounding right now, because you keep returning to that particular story. You're grounding a little bit too much of yourself, a little bit too much of your present in that particular narrative, in that story, and you need to switch out of that and find the new story that you're looking for. That story that you're looking for, if you could fix this, you might not find the one exactly that you're looking for, but because you're stuck on this story, you're not being open to the new story that's available to you. So there's a request to refocus how you root yourself, how you be present, and what you do with the present energy, and how you can use that to rewrite the new narrative, rewrite the new story that applies to you without this story in it. The only way that you could use anything from this story is lessons learned. Other than that, you need to find a balance in how you are rooting yourself in the present if you want to start to take that new step forward. We have a 10 of Wands, and I feel like this is just sort of wrapping this up and letting you know this is not going to be easy. This is a validation. This is a message from those who are on the other side, your spirit guides, your deities, your ancestors, whoever you look to for that spiritual connection, guidance, and direction. This is them validating. They're not saying this is going to be easy. They're just saying this can be done. This can be something that you can do. It's just taking that moment to end the scene, and to find that step forward, to find new ground, new ways to root yourself, new ways to root the story, a new once upon a time beginning to this new scene in your life. We have family card that follows with this, and I feel like this is twofold. For some of you, this has to do with ancestor work. There's a connection that you have already established in some facet. For some of you, it's the beginning of connection with ancestor work, as in you are becoming more aware and you're tapping into it. And for some of you, you have a setup or established ancestor work, but you're being told to turn to it more than you are. You're not allowing yourself to turn to it for guidance and direction quite at the level that's available to you. You're getting lost in the narrative a little bit more than they would like you to. They are offering a means for you to be able to connect and get more of a message and more direction, but it's getting blocked out by this other narrative that you're focusing on. And so you can switch that around, just again taking the time to create a new balance, creating a new focus, allowing yourself to create new connections and new beginnings. And that includes with ancestor work, with the guides on the other side. But there's also a few of you who have some family members that you are not in communication with, that used to be someone you would go to sit down and talk to, have a cup of tea with, go to a coffee shop and sit down and have coffee and scones, or tea and scones. I don't know why scones is coming up, but scones keeps getting repeated. But there's something that you used to sit down with and have conversations with, as far as for guidance and direction, where you could actually talk to, and you would have them talk back as far as giving their opinion and letting you see things from the light of their particular experience. And for whatever reason, that has not been something that you've utilized. And if this is you, you're being told to connect with that. You're being told to get in contact with that person. Try to set up something if you can, if it's safe in your area, to talk to that person and meet with them face to face if it's possible. So moving on for that, this is the next card is feeling informed. I feel like this is just letting you know the next step. This is all sort of preemptive work to get to this, but you're being told to sit down and take the time to organize your thoughts. You're being asked to sort of write down the pros and cons, write down a diagram, write down your thoughts and process as far as where you are now, your past experience, what you need to let go, the pros and cons, where you want to go moving forward, sort of like creating a business plan. Business plan comes to mind. And when I think of a business plan, I'm really getting that sense of establishing an actual business plan, as far as sitting down and figuring out what your business motto is, what you're delivering, how you'd go about it, the steps that you would take, like full on organization, full on analyzing what it would take to get the business to move forward. And you're just being told to kind of define the perimeters of that. That is your first step. Your first step for this aspect is to sit down and really sort of chisel out the details, to give it precise, definitive lines, to give it a form that you can function off of, that you can bounce off of, that you can build off of. So I feel like this is slightly career-oriented, but there is a few of you that this actually applies to this scenario a little bit as far as stepping forward. So use that as it may feel that it applies to you specifically. The next card we have is I choose love no matter what. And I just feel this is screaming self-love. This has to do with self-love. This has to do with self-acceptance, self-embracing. This has to do with how you can connect, tethering, cutting ties with that narrative and figuring out what that root is that you need to focus on, to take that step forward, to be able to handle the situation and handle the circumstances for you to be able to take that step forward, and knowing what is right for you, knowing what is going to be able to always shine your brightest in that scenario, whether it's relationship, whether it's business, whether it's experiences that you are trying to move past from, and you might come up against people who are involved in that, and you need to know how to handle yourself in that situation, and you're being told to love yourself no matter what. Make sure the choices that you make, and no matter what you have going on, to be in your best alignment is to choose yourself, love yourself, choose those things that will make it so that you know that you are of utmost importance. There is nothing wrong with choosing yourself first. There's nothing wrong with being what society sometimes mistakenly refers to as being selfish. Sometimes it may look like you're being selfish, but it's not. It's actually just you choosing to love yourself, to accept yourself, to embrace yourself. And again, I have to say, to love yourself. And this is just being reiterated in this card, loved. I'm being told to say it begins with you. Loving yourself, feeling loved begins with you. Show yourself the love that you desire from another. It starts with you. You have to fulfill that with yourself first and initially. And those areas in your life, if you feel like you can kind of look at times in your life where you say, I didn't feel loved because, and you can, finish that statement because of experiences from your childhood. And I feel like parent stuff is kind of might be coming up on that more than anything. Childhood issues. You can do work for fulfilling that aspect and loving yourself in revisiting those experiences and providing that love for yourself so that you aren't looking towards other people, or you're not looking externally. So you can do the work that it takes, some sort of, child, there's a term for it. And for whatever reason, I can see it in my head, but I can't think of the term, but I know you know what I'm talking about. Revisiting that and doing the work for healing your child self. You're just being asked to do what it takes to love yourself in the moment, filling in the gaps where you feel that there are gaps with love for yourself from yourself. That is the key right now. That is what's going to help you move and transition and get into better alignment, and to see that fulfillment of, getting that balance, and seeing that fulfillment of getting things to have a specific form and a new foundation which you can build upon and grow from. And finally, belonging. This begins with you. You define where you belong, but you alone are the one who can not only define it, but to actually accept fully and completely the perimeters of what you define. The only time that you feel like you don't belong is because there's something about you that's resisting to either something that you decided you don't accept about yourself, or the situation or the circumstances or the connection that you're trying to belong in, you don't feel that you connect with, because maybe you don't actually connect with that. Maybe that group, maybe that story, maybe that position. Maybe the reason you don't feel like you belong is because you don't actually belong. It's not your tribe. It's not your people. It's not your connection. And you are seeing it for what it is, but you're trying to figure out how you can fit into a situation where it isn't actually where you feel like you can be yourself. And you have to kind of define the perimeters of that yourself. And then you have to do the work that it takes to make sure that you are always working in alignment with that. But it begins with you, and the idea or the concept of self-love seems to be some of the biggest key points that you can take from this reading. All right, that's all I have for you for group 1. I hope this reading gives you everything that you were seeking for and so much more. And hopefully I will see you in another video. Okay, group number 2, right off the bat, we have 10 of Cups, and this has a traditional meaning of happiness and fulfillment, but there's a little bit of a visual solemnness to this particular picture, and I feel like this is tapping into the concept that you have reached a point where you have gotten where you can feel content. You can look around and you can feel that things have been fulfilled, things that you had hoped for and you desired and you had worked for. You've reached that point where you should be happy, and you are happy and you are content, but you're at a precipice where you're ready for the next step. You're ready for the next level. So it's the sort of it's the sort of solemnness that comes with when you recognize that you have everything, but now you're at the precipice of wanting a little bit more, but then you're questioning whether or not that's okay, because we keep hearing a narrative on a broader scale about how you should be content because someone else doesn't have what you have. And so there seems to be, in a lot of times, a sort of sensation of feeling some sort of guilt or shame for not being content with what you have, not being able to be satisfied with the things that you have acquired and the position and the success and the victories and the moments of celebrations that you've experienced. It's almost coming up against this, being at a juxtaposition of recognizing that you have something and wanting more, and feeling like you're not really permitted to desire more because there are already so many people out there who don't have as much as you have. And I'm here to tell you right now that you can shed those feelings. There's nothing wrong with recognizing where you are and recognizing that you have fulfilled a lot of things and you have a lot of successes that you can be happy and content with. But in the meantime, you can also want more. There's nothing wrong with recognizing that you are in a position to level up. You are in a position to take the next step and expand that much more. You are allowed to have that. You are allowed to feel that way. You are permitted to grab it and go for it. So we have the High Priestess, and this is just sort of continuing this story, letting you know that now that you feel that you have gotten that permission that you have been waiting, whether you realize that you were waiting for it or not, you can now tap into your intuition. You can now tap in to the Akashic record. You can now tap into the connection that you have to the other side that can guide you and direct you as to what it is that you need to do to start fulfilling that. You are allowed to desire that. You are allowed to equally look at what you have and be satisfied, as well as want more. And now that you have been given permission or given the sign to give yourself permission, now you can tap into what it takes to take it up to the next level, to level up. What's the next step? Where do you need to go? Now that I feel comfortable, what do I need to be looking into? And what do I need to be planning for? What do I need to be guiding myself towards in hopes to take it up to the next level and to maintain that recognition of satisfaction and contentment because of the success that has already been experienced, as well as knowing that you want more and you're ready to go for it. And this is being validated even deeper with the Fool card. I was actually going to say that when I was talking about the 10 of Cups and that position of being on the precipice. That Fool card is about being on the precipice. It is about being on that cliff, on the edge, and ready to take that leap of the unknown, knowing that there's something there just on the edge that's for you. You don't know exactly what it is, but you don't care. You know it's good. You feel it in your guts. You feel it in your bones. You feel it in the entirety of your being, that there is something there for you and you're ready to dive for it. And this is all validation for that. It is all validation for, yes, you have as much as you think that you have, but no, you do not need to feel guilt for wanting more. That is allowed. We grow and we get bigger and we evolve as a species in its entirety because people can recognize satisfaction while also desire to expand and to make better and bigger and advance. And that's where you're at. You're at a level of being ready to advance, recognizing what you have, but being ready to advance. And you're at that precipice to take that dive, take that fool's leap, to dive deep into this new endeavor, this new whatever it is for you. That's where you're at. And you're being told, see it for what it is and go for it. Go for it. Confirmation. You're being told this is your sign. If you've been thinking, I wish I had a sign, I wish I could just be told that one thing, that seeing that one thing that lets me know that is my sign from the other side, that this is where I'm supposed to be going. This is your sign. This is confirmation. Those things that you've been thinking about, trying to figure out whether or not this is the direction you're supposed to go. This is your sign. Do it. Go for it. Pleasure and pain. I feel like we're just continuing this story. I feel like this concept of trying to validate where you feel and trying to figure out how you can accept both the here and now and expanding into the future. Feels like this is a story that's been kind of running for quite some time, trying to get to the point where you feel confident in really going forward. You're just getting that validation over and over and over again. So the pleasure part is just, again, recognizing where you are, recognizing what you have, celebrating it, and knowing that there's nothing wrong to celebrate it, and feeling content and happy while also being ready to expand. And the pain part comes from, I feel like you're just being told that yes, there's going to be some hard work. Do not take the hard work as evidence as having made the wrong choice. Lean into your instincts when something feels right or wrong. Don't lean into how difficult something is. So if the steps that you take, when you take that leap as a fool into this direction that you're going, if you start to realize that it's feeling like it's a struggle and it's hard, look at it for what it is and try to decipher. Is it hard because this is just the work at hand? Lean into your instincts, lean into your intuition, and try to really decipher when you are struggling. Is it because that you're resisting because of how you were feeling about taking that step? Or is it actually hard because it's the wrong choice? Because I get an overall sense that 9 times out of 10, 99.9999% of the time, it's just hard because you might be resisting a little bit because of the path, and therefore creating a resistance towards you. And also it's just part of the learning curve as you build something new. Something new is not always easy. Sometimes it just takes a little bit more work to build something that's going to be strong and withhold whatever might come in the future. So lean into your instinct as far as the pain and the struggle and the work that might come when you finally latch on to building this. There's going to be a sensation or a feeling of a flip-flopping back and forth as far as being easy, being hard, questioning. But you'll get to the point where the ratio will eventually lean into really feeling like you can trust your instincts and intuition, and that you are taking the right step and the right movement, diving in like that fool and letting it lead you wherever it is that you feel that you are being led or guided to go. Happiness is my birthright. This is just, I feel like this is a reminder that some of you, this is something that you've been thinking about for a really long time. This isn't some new plan that you've been just recently contemplating. It's something that you've considered from childhood as far as pursuing. Or there's an aspect of this thing that you are looking at and you're deciding to pursue that actually brings out a portion of you that you remember was a vibrant part of yourself, your character, your personality when you're a child. And you're kind of reconnecting with that aspect of yourself. And so you're just being reminded that those feelings are true. And again, I'm keep hearing to say, go for it. Just go for it. Speak your truth. I feel like there's going to be a little bit of question from outsiders. And when I say outsiders, I mean, they're not people who are going to be intimately involved in this thing that you are doing. They're not somebody who is someone that you lean on for taking actions, but it might be someone that you might turn to for encouragement or moral support. And sometimes they might say things that make you feel a little less, just not as supportive as you wanted. And you're just being told in those moments to just speak your truth. You don't have to be unkind. You can be kind with how you speak your truth. You can remind them who you are. You can remind them what you've always dreamed and worked for, and how you have always been a person who has gone for things that add up to this new endeavor that you're kind of facing. Take a moment to just speak your truth, and 99% of the time, these people are going to accept it. I'm not saying that they're going to fully be on board, but they're going to be on board to support you. And that's the difference. Sometimes some people who are there to support us, they can't understand how what it is that we're doing factors into our life plan. They can't see how it's all going to come together. And sometimes they might even see that we can't see how that it's all coming together, but they don't care. They love you enough to support you no matter where it is that you're going and where it is that your life plan is leading. And in those moments, it's when you speak your truth that they're able to see you and not the plan. And that's the key. You want to speak your truth so that they see you. They might not be able to see your plan. They might not be able to see your vision. They may not understand it, but speak your truth to those people that you seek moral support from, so that they no longer look at the plan and they look at you and see you and your successes and your strength and have faith in you, and therefore give you support in whatever it is and wherever this leads. We have grief. I feel like there are some, in the instance of this, there's probably some connections that you are going to lose. Mourn them for what they are. And I feel like this is kind of a reminder, mourn them for what they are in that moment. Just because someone still says that they can't see this is where you're going, that this is where this is heading, and they might not support you, that doesn't mean you have to cut them from your life entirely. That just means that as far as this aspect of your life, you just aren't going to be connected with them as deeply. You're not going to have conversations regarding what you're doing and the steps that you're taking and the successes that you're having. In those certain circumstances, there's nothing wrong with you protecting and keeping, well, protecting is the best word that I can come up with. There's nothing wrong with you protecting your plan and your journey from the people who don't support you, even after you have spoken your truth. And then I do feel like there are some of you who are experiencing a pet, an animal comes to mind, a pet. There are some of you who are experiencing, and you know that you're experiencing. So these are those who know that they're experiencing pets who are having illnesses. And you know in your gut that you're at your last moments with these animals, and you're going to experience the grief of that as you move through the next coming weeks. So this only applies to those of you who already have pets that you know are on their last few days, and you know you are having them as your animal guide or familiar or just animal companion here in life, in this life, and you are going to experience the process of grieving them throughout the next couple weeks, because you can see that their health is on a decline, and all you're being told is to you're allowed to take the moment to grieve, and you're allowed to take what it needs, do what you need to do to make sure you meet their needs, so that when the time comes, you'll be sad for the loss, but you won't be sad for something that you did or didn't do. All right, that is all I have for you. I hope that this reading is everything that you would hope for and more. I apologize for the ending of the message for those of you who it seems like it kind of went downhill slightly, but I give the messages that I am told to give, and this is the message that I'm told to give you. And I just want to end with happiness is your birthright, and just move into that, slide into that position, and know that we can still grieve and still be happy, and find that balance that you need to be able to embrace yourself, embrace your happiness, and experience life to its fullest, both the sadness as well as the happiness. All right, that is all I have for you, and hopefully this is everything that you looked for and more. Hopefully it brings you strength and empowerment as you move through the coming weeks and you move into your own personal alignment, and hopefully I will see you in a future video. Okay, group number 3, right away, I'm getting an overall sense of stability. The concept or the word stability comes to mind. The first card we have is the Magician. And this has to do with someone who has everything within themselves, the tools within themselves to be able to make the changes that they need, and to kind of tackle something that they're facing head on. Everything that you require to make this work, you have within you already. Those tools are already in your toolkit already. It's already available to you. It's just a matter of looking at the situation and having the wisdom to know which tool you're supposed to use, having the wisdom to know how you're supposed to approach it, or if you're supposed to walk away from a situation. But I feel like there's an overall sense of being a new position, a new footing, you're just on. It's not a new beginning as a sense as most new beginnings. We know that we're at a new beginning, but we don't know what it takes. We don't know all the perimeters of that new beginning. You're further along in the process. You have already taken steps well into the journey. You've already begun the journey, and you're quite a ways down the path in this particular journey. You have a good idea of what you're facing. You have a good idea of what you're tackling. You have a really good idea of of the approach that needs to be taken, but there's a little bit of self-confidence despite the stability that you've experienced up to this point. There seems to be a undercurrent of potential lack in self-confidence, kind of questioning, wait, am I really supposed to be doing this? Am I really where I'm supposed to be at? Am I really equipped as good as I thought I was? Am I really as confident as I thought I was when I first started on the path? I feel like that is where you're at, and the Magician's card is letting you know, yes, you are on the right path. Yes, you have taken all the proper steps to get you to where you are now. You have made the right choices from then until now. And to remind you that however you might be seeing yourself as far as not having the tools or not having what you think that you need, you do have it. There's an underlying feeling of there's a uniqueness. So if you look around you to people who might be in similar circumstances and you say, but I don't have that. That person has this toolkit and that person had these tools in their toolkit and I don't have those. You're being told not to do that. There is a uniqueness to what you have that nobody else has. There is an approach that you have. There is a skill set that you have earned in your life experience that makes it unique to you and you alone. So you cannot look around you for examples of other people who you think are in a similar position, because how they are managing and what they're using from their personal experience tool belt, you have different than they do. So you're never going to be able to match them because you're not supposed to. Your skill set, what you have within you, is unique to you, and you need to stop looking at those people and you need to start looking at who you are. Remember who you are, remember your experiences, and remember what you bring to the table, because no one else does. What you bring is unlike anybody else, but it's just as good, if not so much better. And there are people who are waiting to be able to look at you and say, hey, I can do that because that person did it. They paved the way. They broke the glass ceiling. That's your position. You are setting a path that's unique to you, but you are sort of setting the path for people who have a similar scenario and they are floundering because they can't figure out how to get where they need to go, because they need that encouragement. You are setting the precedence for yourself and for others, whatever it is that you're taking on, because it sounds amazing. So we have the Princess of Pentacles, and this has to do with setting groundwork. I actually sort of already tapped on this about how you are setting the path, that you are breaking the glass ceiling. This is the Princess of Pentacles, has to do with coins, has to do with being grounded. It has to do with, it does feel a little bit that it has something to do with finances, but to me, I'm getting more of a rooted sort of sensation, feeling grounded in who you are, that root chakra sort of energy. You are setting the groundwork, not just for yourself. You are not only just paving the way for the groundwork for you to go on a path that's uniquely yours, that is at the very least equal to anybody that you are looking around you when you're comparing yourself to, but you are laying down the groundwork for people to follow you. And I don't know what that means, but I feel like you know exactly what I'm referring to when I make this statement. So it's just a reminder that you're not only doing this for yourself, but you're setting the groundwork for those who are going to eventually follow your path, what you have chiseled out. We have Queen of Cups, and it's in reverse, and I feel like I'm being told to leave it in reverse. I don't always read reversals, but today I feel like this is going to be a reminder for some reason, and this kind of feels like it has to do with a connection. I'm getting mother energy, I'm getting emotion energy, and I'm getting also a little bit of intuition. And the reason why it is upside down is I feel like however those apply to you, it doesn't have to be each one. It could be one of those three, but there's going to be some sort of a resistance in one of those facets. So for some of you, there's a mother energy there's going to be a resistance. And for some of you, it is an intuition resistance. And for some of you, there's an emotional resistance that's going to happen. And it can be someone specific outside of yourself, but it also could be something within yourself that you have to deal with, a shadow shadow, for lack of a better term, within yourself that you have to face and kind of overcome to get so that you get to where you are embracing a little bit better and moving forward. Communication is the key. Communication to yourself. I'm kind of digging a little bit more into that Queen of Cups in reverse card that I have there. Communication with yourself, to yourself. That narrative that you tell yourself, that narrative, that dialogue that you share within yourself. Make sure that you are communicating with yourself well. And then also when you're building, whatever it is that you're building, there's someone else that's involved, somebody or something, a business of some sort. I feel business is very, very business related. So communication is the key. Make sure you are concise with your wording. And if you don't know what it is that you want, take the time to figure it out before you begin to communicate. And it's not that you don't have the ability to, and it's not that you are not supposed to communicate. It's just, you're just being told to pause, take a breath, pause, and get yourself on an alignment with your words, how you present yourself through words. Just pay attention to your communication and make sure that you are direct. And if you are not in a position where you can be direct, take a step back so that you can put yourself in a direct position so that when you do start to communicate, and again, this has to do with business in some level, you're doing it with a way that you're concise with your words. You kind of become something of a wordsmith. High flying just lets me know that you are on the way to success, whatever this is referring to as far as the business aspect. And I feel like a lot of this has to do with business on some level, but you are on the right direction. You are going to start feeling that energy of being uplifted by the choices that you're making and feeling like you were in the right direction or you're going in the right direction. I do get an overall sense that this is definitely, you're going to get that feeling, and it's going to come and go, but the more that you continue to move forward and the more that you continue to rely on the things that you know you have within yourself instead of comparing yourself to other people who might be in similar positions, the more you are going to feel yourself being uplifted by yourself, and you're going to feel like you are succeeding. You're going to have that flying high sort of sensation. And the more that you feel it, and it's going to make you work more towards it, and it just sort of feeds itself in that direction that you were hoping to go. And this is just letting you know that that is what's on the, in the near future for you. Through prayer meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world. Again, I'm talking about that loop, having proper communication. This is tapping into the communication with yourself. Make sure that the narrative within yourself is something that is encouraging to you and is always building up yourself and building up the skill set that you have and building up the direction and the path that you were taking and what you're hoping to build. And as you do that, you will nurture that flying high sensation and that feeling that you get when you have successes, even when they're small successes. And as you feed that small success sort of energy, it helps to switch the narrative and continues to feed that positive, uplifting narrative, which feeds the flying high narrative. And again, when tapping into that concept of making sure that you take a breath and take a pause and take a step back to make sure that you're concise with your communication, it's just kind of reminding you, take a moment to meditate on who you are, meditate on your desires, pray if that's a thing that you do, but you are creating a ripple effect that's going to not just begin now, but it's rippling into your near future and where it is that you're hoping to go and what it is that you're hoping to build. We have instinct and spirituality. I feel the need to put these both down because I feel that they're extremely tethered together. You're being told that you already know. That's why you're so far along in the path already. But that's why you were able to take the steps that you took during this path, on this particular quest that you're on, and get so deep into it before you started to question yourself, before you started to look around and compare yourself to other people and things happening around you. You already had the instincts that you needed for this. And you're just being reminded of that, not to forget that this is what you have. And then you're also being told to tap into that spiritual aspect. And I feel like this is tethering to that meditation and prayer aspect. Whatever it is that you lean on a spiritual perspective, you're just being told that that's something that you can still tap into and that you can use as a support. Whatever it is that you define your spirituality that helps you encourage yourself and support yourself and build yourself up. You're just told to kind of tether that in, weave that into your story, weave that into your quest, weave that into your current journey, because it's going to feed your success. It's going to feed you as you progress forward, and it's going to feed that alignment that you're looking for. All right, group number 3, I hope that reading gives you everything that you were hoping for and so much more. I look forward to doing more of these, and hopefully I will see you in a future video. Thank you.